Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, Lucy, and today I'm going to tell you the story of how Michael and I found our dream apartment. What I'd rather say is here's the story of how Michael and I manifested our dream apartment. Because we didn't just find it, but we actually dreamed it up in our head and then it materialized in front of us. So we've been searching for an apartment now for months. The process has had a ton of ups and downs. We've gotten really excited only to be crushed and let down. But you know what? I recently listened to a podcast and it was all about the book called The Beautiful No. Essentially, this woman who wound up being Oprah's producer later in life initially got rejected from a job that she really wanted. And when she first got rejected, she was devastated, but then when she later got the offer to move to Oprah, she realized that that no that she got from the previous job was the most beautiful thing that could have happened to her because it's the only reason that she took the Oprah job, which then led to her having an incredible career. And the truth is, when you're apartment hunting, you're gonna get a lot of no's, especially in New York City where real estate flies. So if you see that an apartment is on the market and you go look at it, someone could have put in an application 10 minutes before and you've missed your shot. And Michael and I definitely experienced a lot of that. So I want to tell you the whole story, but before I can get into it, I think it's important for me to set the stage for you. Give you a little background into who we are and what we were looking for in an apartment and why. Michael and I currently live in a one-bedroom apartment in Manhattan. We're not uptown, we're not downtown. I would say we're somewhere in Midtown. Don't really want to tell YouTube where we are, but it has been our dream to move downtown. There's one particular neighborhood downtown, and to be even more precise, there's one particular corner downtown. It's like a little triangle intersection between a few streets, and it is our magical corner. So this is the corner that Michael and I dream about when we think about New York City. Anytime we're traveling and we're out of the city, we think about this magical corner and it makes us miss home, even though neither of us live there or have ever lived there. But I just want you to keep in mind throughout the story that we have a magical corner and it's somewhere downtown in Manhattan. So first things first, why are we moving at all? We currently live in this one-bedroom apartment. I just did an apartment tour showing you this space a couple weeks ago. Click somewhere up here to watch that. But don't navigate away from this video because I'm not done yet. This apartment has served us well. We've lived here for 3 years, loved our time here. It's a beautiful building. The truth is though, my lights and my camera equipment are clogging the place up. I shoot almost all of my videos in our bedroom. I'm currently in the bedroom right now. This is my closet behind me. The bed is right there. Because I don't like to assemble and then disassemble things, I just leave my lights built all day in the corner of our bedroom and I shoot a ton of stuff on our bed. The kitchen and living room are sort of one unit joined together. There's not a lot of space. If Michael and I are both trying to do 2 separate things at once, we often have to split into bedroom and living room, and you can hear everything through the walls. So I can't record a video if he's watching TV. We're kind of on top of each other. And the other reason we're looking for a new apartment is because we're getting married in September, and we both have this idea in our minds that this current apartment is our dating apartment and it's where we got engaged. We're flipping to a clean page in a new book. We're getting married and we want a new apartment that is our newlywed apartment. We were not looking to buy, we're still looking to rent. We just wanted an upgrade in terms of space. And in the best case scenario, we could be down near our little magical triangle that I mentioned before. Here are the things that you should know that we were looking for in an apartment. Number 1, windows and lights. Michael and I love natural light. It fuels us, and in New York City, especially downtown, a lot of those buildings are pre-war buildings that have very tiny windows and not a lot of light comes in. We both need light, so we heavily look at windows when we look at apartments. Second thing that's really important to me, which I sort of mentioned in my apartment tour video, is we like unique floor plans and interesting spaces. A lot of New York City apartments are just cookie cutter, square, and rectangular units. There's nothing wrong with that if you like squares and rectangles. I personally am uninspired by squares and rectangles. I know most bedrooms need to be square because that's just the easiest way to arrange furniture, but if the whole floor plan of an apartment could be some sort of a triangle or a trapezoid, that's what I like. I like when you walk into a space and it's different and it's angular, and for whatever reason that really gets my creative juices flowing. It gets me really wanting to shoot content, and of course I'm looking for an apartment that I can shoot a lot of content in, so I needed a space that was creatively laid out. In addition to the windows and the floor plan, another thing that was really important to us, of course, was location, and we wanted to be as close as possible to our magical little park. I'd say the 4th thing that was important to us was having a doorman. We currently live in a building that has a doorman. It's not really about the safety of having a doorman. I actually think so many neighborhoods of New York City are perfectly safe that I would feel comfortable just walking off of the street into an apartment, and I don't feel I need a doorman for safety. I think the reason a doorman is key is because of the job I do and because of the way I'm partnering with brands all the time and I'm getting packages shipped here. I just don't know what I would do without a doorman to store those packages when I'm not home. A lot of these buildings that you see on the side of the street, you know, you just put a key in the door and then there's just a stairway going up, and if you have packages, they kind of just sit there for everyone to see and potentially take. I heard a statistic somewhere that maybe 20% of all packages in New York City get stolen because they're just sitting in stairwells or sitting in front of people's doors, and I don't think that would be smart with the amount of packages I receive and the timely turnaround that I need to create content for brands. I just don't think I could risk having stuff being taken. We currently have a rooftop on our building, which is really nice, so we thought it would be nice if we could find a place that had a rooftop. As you can see, I'm naming a whole bunch of things that are kind of difficult to come by in Manhattan, especially downtown Manhattan. So we went into this process just kind of open-minded. We figured we would take a look around, see what we found, go look, and see what happens. So here's the story. This is really where it starts, I promise. That was just the setup. First things first, we spend about 2 weeks looking at apartments online, and we finally spend a day going to look at places. We found one place that we were in love with. We had looked at so many other places, and Michael and I would just make eye contact with each other in the apartments, kind of like a get me out of here kind of eye. And then we went in this place, and I could see from his eyes that he loved it as much as I did. So here's the deal with this place. It was just about 10 blocks north from that little triangle that we love. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It had 2 outdoor spaces, private spaces. One of them was really big off the living room. One of them was off the master bedroom and was really tiny, but it just had incredible views of the Empire State Building. The 2 bathrooms had windows. One of the windows was in a shower and was looking straight out at the Empire State Building. And then the best part about the apartment for me was that the living room was a trapezoid, and it was so cool. The kitchen was tucked into the side like a little triangle. Living room was a trapezoid. The bedrooms were interestingly shaped. There was a lot of closet space, and of course the 2 outdoor spaces. It was a co-op building, which means that someone owns the unit in the apartment and then they're part of a board that owns the whole building. I think that's right. Honestly, I do not know what a co-op is. But because of that, it's not like a standard rental apartment in New York where all the units are the same. This particular apartment was renovated and was designed to the owner's liking. And to be honest, it was not really our style. I would describe it as mid-century modern in kind of a cool Palm Springs type of way, but it was definitely not the style that we would design a future home. But we were really excited about it because it had been on the market for so long and they were having difficulty selling this place or renting this place because it was a 2-bed, 2-bath situation, which would be perfect for any sort of young family. But because the unit had no bathtub, they could not rent this to young families. So Michael and I thought we were the perfect people for this apartment. We're 2 young people who want 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, but we do not have kids and we're not planning on having kids for at least the next couple years, so we didn't feel we needed a bathtub. We pretty much immediately fell in love with this space and applied for the apartment. Because it had been on the market for so long, we actually applied and put in an offer that was lower than the asking price, and we thought we were gonna get it. Signed, sealed, delivered, talking about how that was gonna be our neighborhood, it was our dream spot, etc., etc. What do you know, as luck would have it, the magic no happened, and we heard back from the listing agent that apparently the exact same weekend that we applied and put in an offer, 2 other people applied and put in higher offers than us. So we lost it. I'm gonna be honest, I really had built this apartment up in my head. I had already envisioned having a little grill on the porch and having friends over and doing things with all of our family and friends in there. And the truth is, once I found out that this apartment was not gonna be ours, surprisingly, I wasn't that sad. I remembered how excited I felt when we first found this spot, and I just became immediately excited to feel that again about another spot. 1-2 weeks goes by, I'm still looking at places, I'm going out pretty much every day with different agents, looking at spots, looking online. We come across this one listing, and the unit looks so beautiful. The living room and the kitchen in particular. They only had photos of the living room and kitchen, the bedrooms were not photographed, and we didn't know why. But then I looked at the floor plan a little closer and I realized the 2 bedrooms in the unit both had no windows. So, as you remember from my previous statement, we need windows. We love windows. We're window people. Windows bring light and we love light and we like plants. Truly, I thought there's no chance I'm gonna like this place, but let me just give it a shot. I'll go look. Just to orient you on a map, this was not in our dream neighborhood, but it was in probably our secondary dream neighborhood of Soho, and it was right on Prince Street. Phenomenally beautiful street. Every high-end retail shop is on that street, and it's just bustling and filled with so much energy, and we love it down there. So even though this wasn't our initial dream spot, I thought, this could do. And we got to the spot and we loved the energy outside and we said, we're going up. Hopefully we like this place. So this building had no doorman. It was just key into the door, and then there was an elevator, which is a little different from a lot of these walk-ups. So you tap your little fob on the elevator and then it takes you up to your floor, and there were about 2 apartments per floor. So you go into the apartment and immediately Michael and I were floored, blown away by the beauty of this space. 11-foot ceilings, full wall of white exposed brick, beautiful ceiling light fixtures hanging from the top. The living room was just stunning and ginormous, and there was a wall of 4 giant windows that were all lifted up, and the real estate listing agent was in there with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend was sitting in the fire escape surrounded by plants, just like looking out on Prince Street. We're walking around this beautiful space. You sort of round the corner and there's the kitchen there with another window facing west, so there's your sunset in your kitchen. Beautiful kitchen, just like bright open, lots of whites and natural woods, stunning. And you can kind of see that this whole space was basically just one big loft apartment that they built a flex wall in between and created 2 bedrooms in the back. 2 separate rooms, each with their own bathroom, so it was 2 bed, 2 bath. But the issue here was that there were no windows in the bedrooms, and they were very small and there was not a lot of closet space. The one saving grace of this situation was because the ceilings were so tall and they were about 11-foot ceilings, this flex wall had those windows on the top of the wall, so some light from the living room did leak into the bedrooms. They didn't feel dark. I was really concerned looking at a floor plan that these rooms were gonna feel like closets, and they didn't. They felt nice. Michael and I just had a moment where we talked to each other and we were like, we don't need bedroom windows. We like sleeping in the dark anyway. I wear an eye mask when I sleep. How great would it be to not have to close a window, or how great would it be to not have any light on me? I actually recently just did a 5-day challenge all about getting better quality sleep, and one of the top things I learned was that you don't want any light pollution on you when you sleep. So I'm sitting here telling myself, I don't need bedroom windows. I'm gonna sleep in the dark. Cool. We started to have this feeling like maybe we're meant to be on Prince Street, we're meant to be in Soho. Many of you guys who follow me on Instagram might know that I frequently talk about Prince Street pizza because it's one of my favorite pizza spots in New York City, and this apartment was walking distance from Prince Street Pizza. I'm talking 2-minute walk down Prince Street to get my favorite pizza. So I was feeling pretty excited about this spot, and Michael and I essentially walked out of this place, sat in the car with the agent that was showing us around, and we said, we want this one, let's apply. As we're applying, I call my mom and I'm telling her about the apartment, and she immediately has some concerns, namely the fact that there is no central air, which is fine, but that just means that the windows are where you're gonna put your air conditioning units, and if you don't have windows in the bedroom, how do you condition the air in the bedroom? And by condition the air, I mean make it cool, which is another key thing that you need to do when you're sleeping, because you need to sleep with it cold, otherwise you're hot and sweaty and you don't sleep well. And then she's asking me, how are you gonna actually deal without having a doorman? Think about it. I was thinking about it, and I was thinking like, I don't know, maybe I'll get a P.O. box. I'm gonna come up with something. I just need this apartment. It's so beautiful. I kind of threw away all of my serious thought processes about this, and I just said, I want this apartment. So my mom was fine with it. She said, you know, it's gonna be your apartment. It's all good. I'm just asking you some questions. And at the same time, she sent me a floor plan of another apartment. And I looked at this floor plan and I was just stunned by what I saw, because what I was looking at was a floor plan for an entire 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment that was one big triangle. The whole apartment was a triangle. But anyway, I kind of threw that out of my mind. I didn't do any research into looking at that apartment. I just said, I'm applying for another apartment right now, and I put my phone down. So we applied to the Prince Street apartment. We're so excited to get it, and what do you know? We find out that someone else who had seen the apartment earlier in that week had already applied that morning and had already been approved by the owner. Michael and I were not prepared to give up without a fight. We really thought we wanted this apartment, so we went ahead and we offered a higher bid, and we also started doing all of this energy channeling in our apartment. So Michael and I were sitting right in our living room, sending our energy to Prince Street. I recorded a video of Michael pushing his energy to Prince Street, trying to get the owners to go with us instead of the previous applicants. We were just pushing all of our energy out, channeling, trying to get this apartment, and the truth is, it didn't work. It was our second beautiful no. So, 2 no's. Now we're feeling a little bit deflated. At least I was. I was not as upset about the first apartment, but this Prince Street apartment getting out of our grip was something I was having difficulty dealing with. I had already started visualizing my selection of plants that I would put on the fire escape and the way we would design that living room, and I was just pretty upset when we found out that it wasn't gonna work. And also Michael and I were just starting to get a little bit down about the whole process because we had now lost 2 places that we thought we loved, and we realized that the real estate market in New York City moves so quickly. So even though there's new stuff popping up all day, every day, unless you're sitting there monitoring it, it's very possible that someone is gonna swoop in and take it before you get there. So then the manifesting happened. So I had a call with my entrepreneurial and life coach, Marjolaine, and she told me, stop going to look at apartments for a second and just sit down and write down on a piece of paper what it is you're looking for. Before you're gonna find this dream place, you need to write down everything you want. The first 2 apartments that we looked at, they had a lot of elements, things that we wanted, but they also were lacking some other things. So that first apartment was really lacking in the department of the design and the look of the apartment. I'm really into bright white walls, I'm really into dark wood floors and white kitchen cabinets, and that first space was very dark. It had dark floors, dark cabinets, dark everything, and like a green tiled bathroom. The second apartment was great in a lot of ways, but it was lacking in a lot of other ways. There was no doorman, there were no bedroom windows, there was no air conditioning in the bedrooms, it had very few closets, a lot of other things. So I said to her, I just don't think I'm gonna find an apartment that checks all the boxes, but I guess I'll do what you're asking, and I'll take some time and I'll sit and I'll write down everything I'm looking for. So I have a page in my bullet journal. I could flash it up here for you right now. I blanked out some things because I didn't want you guys to know exactly the neighborhoods I was looking in or anything like that. But I essentially wrote down everything we wanted. So the first thing was that we were looking for a unique space. Second thing was about the floor plan. We did not want something squares and rectangles. We were looking for something triangular, circular, or trapezoidal. We wanted at least 1,200 square feet, must be 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Ideally, we would have an open kitchen layout with a big island instead of having a kitchen that's tucked away like a galley kitchen. My favorite decor would be dark wood with white cabinets, but I was also open to dark wood or light gray floors. I just didn't want the browns that are in our current apartment. The next must-have list in my dream apartment is huge windows. Outdoor space is a definite plus. The next bullet point are the areas that I wanted to look in. Next was a doorman building, having a washer dryer in unit, having some sort of cool open interior, and city views facing west for sunset. So once I wrote this all down and I showed it to Michael, the 2 of us together were really starting to get a better picture in our minds of what we wanted. And at that point, we just stopped looking altogether at non-doorman buildings. We realized that it would be really inconvenient for us to not have a doorman to help us with packages and handoffs, so we just stopped looking at buildings that didn't have one. The next thing that happened is, like an angel sent from heaven, my mother texted me again with that original triangular layout that she had sent before. I looked at it again, and this time I wasn't all clogged up by the idea of living in Prince Street apartment. I had more of an open mind, and I looked at the layout she sent me, and I actually took a closer look at it, and I said, wait a second, this is crazy. This apartment is a triangle, whole unit is a triangle, and because it's a triangle and there are windows on each wall, the apartment has views facing north, east, and west. What's even better about this apartment building is that there's a doorman, there's a roof deck, the windows are 6 feet tall each, and there are 19 of them. And yes, they do exist in the bedroom. It's newly renovated with dark wood floors and bright white cabinets. The walls are bright white. It is 12-foot ceilings, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, the amount of space we're looking for. It literally ticked every box that we were looking at. But then I look at the street address, and it was an address that I just did not know where it was. So I go to Google Maps, and I type in the street address, and the street is on the magical corner that Michael and I love so much. pretty much at this point knew in my heart that this apartment was going to be ours, but I knew that I had to get it first. So I called the listing agent, freaking out on the phone. She actually told me later that she thought I was prank calling her because she picked up the phone and I said, I love triangles and I saw your listing and I hate living in squares and rectangles and I just want to live in a triangle. I honestly blacked it out because I was so nervous that she was gonna say, I'm sorry, we already got an application. But she laughed and then she said, okay, well, it sounds like you're perfect for the apartment. And I said, I see that there's an open house, but I really want to come before the open house because I don't want anyone to steal it from me. My fiance and I are meant to live in this apartment. We dream of this corner in the city. We dream of living inside a triangle. There are 19 windows, 2 bedroom, 2 bath. This is perfect for us. We need it. I get so out of breath just thinking of it. So this woman was so sweet. She offered to show it to me the next day. I met her. Michael and I went inside to look at this space and we both just had that feeling that we were home. We remember looking at this apartment that we live in now, and we remember that feeling of the first time we walked in when we just smiled and looked at each other and said, this is the one. And we remember that for the whole remainder of that night, we couldn't stop thinking about how someone else might be looking at it and we need to apply and get it immediately. And that's exactly what happened with this space. So the moment we left, we emailed the agent and we said, we want it, let's move, we want to apply, tell us next steps. And I am pleased to say that we have officially signed the lease for our new 2-bedroom apartment that we'll be moving into later this summer. Woo! Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So now that you listened to the saga of Lucie and Michael's 2-bedroom apartment, I just wanted to let you know that I will put a little clip right now showing you my cell phone video of walking through the apartment. Another really cool thing that happened is as we were going to meet this agent to go look at the apartment, we ran into Michael's sister and her boyfriend on the street and we brought them up with us to look at the apartment with us. And it was just kind of one of those magical moments where you're like, wow, everything's meant to be. We're meeting up with family on the street outside of this place and showing it to our family. It was perfect. That is the saga. 3rd time's the charm. No's can be beautiful because when we think back to the other 2 places, I realized that it was meant to be a no at those spots so that our road could lead us to this 3rd spot. But the one thing I will say, I truly believe that a lot of things in life, the outcome of a lot of things, is just based on how optimistic or how pessimistic you are. And Michael and I are very optimistic people in that if either of the first 2 apartments had worked out, I'm sure we would be living there feeling the exact same way we're feeling right now, where we feel like everything happens for a reason. We're meant to be in this apartment. You know, if it was the first apartment, we would have thought,
how great, it's our first stop and we found our dream home.
If it was the 2nd apartment, we would have said,
good thing we didn't take the first apartment because we were meant to be in Prince Street.
And now that it's the 3rd apartment, we're saying, good thing the first 2 didn't work out because we were meant to be here. So I really think everything in life can be boiled down to your mindset about it, and you don't have to feel like the world is working against you all the time, but if you just reorient and put things into perspective, you can kind of find the best out of any outcome and any situation. So we are moving later this summer and we are so excited to design this new apartment. We're gonna have our 2nd bedroom designated as a shooting studio, and also it will have a pull-out couch where our friends and family can stay if they want to sleep over. And it does have a bathtub, so who knows, maybe we will live in this spot through becoming parents and that will be our child's first bathtub. I sure hope. Anyway, I hope this story was interesting to you in some way. I hope you got something out of it. If nothing else, I hope it was entertaining, and I'm really excited to show you our new space and show you how we design it. Comment below if you have any design suggestions for us. We are always open to getting design ideas, furniture ideas, wall decor ideas. Send them through. And also comment below and let me know what else you want to see on this channel. I am definitely going to do a full empty apartment tour when we first move in, and then I'll also do a full new apartment tour with all of the furniture and everything in it once we design it. So excited to show it to all of you. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. So sorry Michael couldn't be here for this video, but he really wanted to be, and I'll send him your love. Bye.